What up, gang? It's Mang. Aetherdrift is here. We just had our premiere video and we have tons of news to talk about. This is going to be your one-stop for all you need to know so far. Overview for this video. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. This is not going to be my full draft guide where I'll break down all the cards, but today we'll be covering mechanics, revealed cards, pre-con commanders, and Chromox. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. No, really, that's the name of the mechanic. Start your engines. As corny as it sounds, it's also ironic, where we're tracking speed levels throughout the match. You go up one speed for every time you deal damage to your opponent on your turn. You need a start your engines keyword to even start this process. Important to note, if you have another card with start your engines, it does not put you onto the next level of speed. So you can't play two start your engine cards and be on level 2. This is a slow burning effect, which is ironic because it takes a little bit to get to speed 4. It's going to take at least 3-4 turn cycles to get there. I think it's kind of a flavor fail if you ask me, but Hazaret Godseeker is a good example here with the keyword. He can't even attack or block unless you have max speed. Now Vinwick's Verbose Host, max speed payoff is worthwhile. If you would draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. Kind of like the levels of the Ring. If you played the Lord of the Rings set, we were tracking 1 through 4 on there. Same idea here. We'll be tracking speed with this racing set. An Aetherdrift would not be a racing set if it didn't have vehicles and mounts, so let's talk about them now. The keywords you're going to need to be familiar with are crew and saddle. Crew is something we've seen before with Kamigawa. Animate vehicles, they sit on the side of the board. They are not in play as creatures unless you can crew them. You can crew vehicles at instant speed. So if you want to hold them up for blockers, you can use Apocalypse Runner, for example. If you have 3 power on the board among your creatures, you can tap them at instant speed and use this as a great blocker. 6/5 is great stats. Now mounts, you can only saddle up at sorcery speed. They work very similarly to vehicles, but they are also creatures in their own right. So Legoran, Soul of Elecria, is a flying beast mount that's a 1/1. It is actually in play as a creature, but you can tap other creatures with Saddle 1 to mount this creature, and once this creature is saddled, you get a variety of payoffs. For example, here you're going to put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target mounts and or vehicles. There's going to be an interesting dynamic here in the limited state. Now let's talk about Exhaust. Loot, the Pathfinder, is back. He is a little more fearsome this set. In the Teamer colors and 2 colorless, you get a double strike Vigilance Haste creature with 3 exhaust abilities. Now, I want to stress how critical this is. Exhaust is an ability you can only trigger once per game. So once you use it, you lose it, unless this creature is blinked back into play, like you exile it and return it to the battlefield, then you get all those exhaust triggers for use again. Same thing if you reanimated loot from the graveyard. And this might be difficult to track in paper. I don't know if we're going to need little counters or color-coded beans to determine which exhaust abilities we've used and we have it. At least the name is a pun, so I give them some flavor. Thumbs up here for this. Of the mechanics so far, I think exhaust might be the best one. This is the one I'm excited to see in play. I'm just worried it might be difficult to track in paper is all. And then let's talk about the one that we've known about for some time now, the Aether Spark. This is a legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. That's right, it's a planeswalker equipment that you can attach to one of your creatures, and it still has plus abilities and minus abilities like a planeswalker, but it is only attackable if it is not equipped to a creature. So in order to remove this, say you're playing a match, it cannot be attached to a creature. You'll have to remove the creature first, and then it will be exposed on your turn to attack. In the limited format, I'm not sure the Aether Spark's all that powerful, but it's very unique. We've never seen this before. I'm curious how this is going to play out. And now let's shift gears here, no pun intended, to look at some of the revealed cards. So like I said, this is a Death Race, Mad Max vibe to it. PG-13 Mario Kart, if you want to call it that. There are different factions with different payoffs and themes. I think the draft archetypes will be interesting once we get the full set. I'm just going to show a few on the screen here. We don't have to talk about all of them. I'm going to send a link to the full art gallery of all the cards as well at the end of the video, so check the description for that. I just want to highlight some of the factions here. We also have a new Chandra, Captain Howler of the Sea Scourge, which is kind of the red-blue discard payoff for this set. Far Fortune End Boss has Start Your Engines as well, so There's a variety of mechanics jammed into these factions. There's some thematical interesting cards here. Now, I know some people didn't like the cowboy theme of Thunder Junction or the horror movie theme of Duskmorn, but if you're into Mad Max and racing, this set seems to have you covered. Here are some examples of the artifacts in the variety of color pairs too. Rocketeer Boost Buggy, Boosted Sloop, which is like a looter scooter, Guidelight Pathmaker, which is a vigilance vehicle, which is very good because you can use it as a blocker and as an aggressive creature. There's some cool things going on here. They kind of match the signpost uncommons that you'll see. I'll have a full breakdown of these and how they pair with their uncommons in my full draft guide that's going to be coming out. Now here are a few cards I'm personally excited about. As a Dino Velociraptor player, we also got word of Aganosaur Rex. Now, this is power creep at its finest here. A 5 mana, 8/8 trampler with cycling. You will see cycling on a lot of these cards too. So that gives you the ability to discard the card and draw. Certain factions have payoffs for discard effects. This is like a combat trick baked into an enormous creature. This is going straight into my Dino deck once I get my hands on it. Atchik Emerald Radiant is an insect druid. You could be flooding your board with a bunch of 1/1s. And then Loot, we already talked about. This is the beautiful alternate art they have here. I think you can get this in the collector booster packs. They're trying to do their best to make Loot cute, and I think they found the right formula here. Just don't have him smile. Those little shark teeth of his make him look like a nasty gremlin, and this was a good job. Way to go, Wizards. These are the last three I've highlighted. Draconics Engineer. This card seems very powerful at rare. A 2 mana creature with exhaust. Other creatures you control gain haste and put a 1/1 counter on this creature. And you also can make a Dino Dragon. That's a 4/4. So that's pretty sweet. And then you got the Boros vehicle here with flying. You can distribute counters. And we already talked about the Apocalypse Runner, but yeah, vehicles and mounts aplenty of this set. On the screen here too, you'll see the cool yellow border alternate versions of some of these cards. This art style will be available in Aetherdrift, and I think they look pretty nice in person. This is our first look at it, and some of the foil that looks very nice in these colors, but let me know what you think. Are you a fan of these Pokemon looking borders? I think they look nice in person. Can't wait to see one when I open one. Now, I know some of you here are just here for the Commander content. We want to talk about those showcase Commanders. So we have the Living Energy and Eternal Might decks. Those are the two precons that were announced. And we finally have our first glimpse who's going to be piloting these wonderful combo decks, starting with Temet Tumans Will. This is an Esper Commander. In the Esper colors and 2 colorless, you get a legendary zombie creature with Vigilance and Menace. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. And whenever you draw a card, zombies you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So you're going to be cycling through your deck, making a bunch of zombies, buffing them all, and going for the overrun win. Hashitan Scarab's Fist is probably the most interesting of this bunch here, in my opinion. For black and white, you get a 1/3. But the ability is very unique. We haven't seen this payoff before. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 in a blue, and if you do, create a tap token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. Now this is very cool. This opens the doors for endless possibility. The fact that you don't have to exile the creature to make the 4/4 copy is super important. It still lets you reanimate those creatures. This is probably one I would love to build a deck around. Maybe put this as the commander and rework the deck once I get my hands on it. That's going to be a fun project to take on. And Living Energy is highlighted by Saheeli Radiant Creator. Teamer colors and 1 colorless. You get this human Artificer. Whenever you cast an Artificer or artifact spell, you gain an energy. And at the beginning of combat under turn, you can pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control, except it's a 5/5 artifact creature, in addition to its other types, and you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So you're going to be using all your energy payoffs that we got maybe in Modern Horizons 3. You're going to be using some of those cards to get your energy pool high enough to where you can make copies of excellent ETB creatures, swing in for 5/5 damage in the air maybe, with, animating a flyer, for example. A lot of cool things we can do here. And then the secondary commander for this deck is Pia Nalar, Chief Mechanic. Teamer colors. Whenever 1 or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you get 2 energy. Beginning of your end step, you can pay 1 or more energy and create an XX colorless vehicle artifact token named Nalar Aetherjet with flying and crew 2, where X is the amount of energy spent this way. So I already got confused just reading that, trying to keep track of all that. But I'm sure those energy players out there, they're just going to jam their deck full of energy and reap the rewards as they figure out what to do given the board state. So pretty sweet. These are unique commanders, and I think they're going to make for some interesting decks. Let me know what you're brewing, if you're going to pick up either of these in the comments. I'm all ears, and I love the commander brew comments the most. Last but not least, Chromox? Yes, Chromox. This $80 to $100 card is getting reprinted on the bonus sheet here. This is like the special guest surprise we got at the end of the reveal. Now is the best time than ever to get this shiny Chromox, to get your hands on one if you don't have one. Excited to see this. Not really going to be excellent in limited, but all you commander players, if you ever wanted to own one, now's your chance. You could open one at pre-release maybe. That's going to do it. Like I said, this was just a sample of our first look at Aetherdrift. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing a full breakdown of Aetherdrift in my draft guide. I did one for Innistrad Remastered last week, and I am excited to get the full set. Once I have my hands on it, I'm going to be doing my homework and give you my first impressions, and just prepare you guys for pre-release and draft. Let me know what you want me to cover in that draft guide, but I'm already got the template set up and I'm ready to go. I'll see you guys in that video, and you guys have a great rest of your night. Peace.